Howdy, folks. I want to take you through speaker recognition. I've done a demonstration of this before, but there's been lots of questions around it. How do you make it actually work? So let's take you through some of the concepts of it because there has been some changes. If you have a new version of the app now, we've got Take Notes. It was Facilitator. It's now called Take Notes. So when we tap on that, we get a QR code and have meeting agent take notes during the meeting. So this is where we can walk into a meeting room, meeting space, collaboration area, wherever you might be, and you want to have this as your digital note taker. Scan it with your phone, opens up Teams, and then you get your meeting notes on the display, and then it's saved in your chat. But that doesn't recognize that Graham said something or my colleague Nancy said something. So it's great to capture those moments and notes, but it's not capturing who said what. So maybe, for example, you've got a HR discipline, or you've got a new sales motion and you want everyone to know who said what, leading that training, then that's where we have speaker recognition. Now, this must be done as a scheduled call. We can't do Meet now, and it'll just magically auto accept everyone and recognize everyone. It must be a scheduled call. So you invite the room, you invite your users, and then we hit speaker recognition. Now, there's a couple of things. One, we need to make sure our IT policy is in place that we're allowed to do transcriptions and we're allowed to record our voice profile. And that's the second option. Each user must record their voice profile. So that can be done through their Teams client on the desktop, not the web client, but on the desktop. And once they've done that, they will then be recognized by the system. Secondly, if they haven't done it during the meeting, they can identify it during the call with their laptop. Only someone else can identify themselves. I can't identify someone else for security reasons, obviously. Then we must also start then transcribing that meeting. So getting the information recorded, transcribed, so it knows who said what. What I've done in this meeting here is actually I've gone into meeting options and I've said automatically record and transcribe. So let's start this call. We'll turn my camera off. And again, on this new version of the Teams app, I've got captions will be shown here. I've automatically enabled it. I've got voice identification is on. Only users with a voice profile will be identified in the meeting language, English US, and Graham Watch recorded and transcribed. So all that information is picked up in here now. So when we start the session, data will be shown at the bottom here in our captions. So that's just purely for visual. You don't have to have your captions turned on. It's just nice to see. And now it says anonymous. And then it will start recognizing who I am and saying that Graham said X, Y, Z. Now, if I bring my colleague into the call, I've done this with the AI voice prompt, with some software, and I've actually got a news clipping from today's news about OpenAI and spending a lot of money. So let me play my colleague.
$30 million contract with Amazon to access its cloud computing infrastructure as the startup continues its run of major partnerships to secure computing power. In 2025, the ChatGPT maker has signed deals worth more than $1 billion with Oracle, Broadcom, AMD, and Chip.
So now you can see it's recorded who said what, everything that's in the meeting. And the nice thing on the touchboard, we can go back. However, it's still showing anonymous. So now Nancy has joined the meeting, and my AI avatar of Nancy, and it will now understand that, hey, someone else is in the meeting. We know there's multiple people in the room, and let's start this call recording. So you can see Graham Walsh has been identified and what I'm saying. So now let's bring in Nancy's voice again.
July Microsoft. As part of the 7-year agreement, OpenAI will gain access to NVIDIA graphics processors to train its artificial intelligence. The deal follows a swift restructure of OpenAI last week.
So now we can see Nancy Jones has mentioned all this information. So that is how we do speaker recognition. So you just need one user to join with their phone or mobile client to start that, to know that there's users in the room and not just the room on our own. And again, you wouldn't be walking in the room, having that one person call. You could just do facilitator take notes of that. There needs to be a user. And the whole reason for that is storage, where we're going to store this. Now I know we can hang this call up now, actually. This was actually scheduled by myself in my tenant, so it's going to be saved into my data. So that is how we do speaker recognition on our Teams rooms on Android. So available now, rolling out to all devices. Take Notes is coming. That's again slowly rolling out to all devices, and you'll see that on your information. So what I'll do now is share my desktop screen, and we'll run through some of that as well, and we can see what it looks like after the event. So we can actually see that speaker recognition during that session. So here we have my Microsoft Teams recording. And as you can see, I've got my meeting cap ready. I've been alerted it's available. And I can see the speakers, Graham and Nancy. So I can quickly look at the summary. Are there any notes here, for example? The AI summary. And again, we've got some new options here. Speaker summary, I can generate that. And then I can quickly go to an area that Graham was speaking. And then I can also jump to Nancy.
That's reliant is
So you can see it has now identified each speaker. We can then quickly see it in our Microsoft Teams environment. And again, all the notes are taken there. And if we go to our transcript, we can then see what Graham said in the pit lane room and what Nancy mentioned in the pit lane room. So very simple now to see who recorded and said what in each meeting space. So that's very cool. Obviously, to have this, as I mentioned, you need to have your settings configured. So you don't see recognition here. I'm in the browser, so you must do it from your desktop app. Under the settings there, you will see recognition, and you'll be able to record your voice recording. New feature in Teams that's rolling out, audio recap, is that you can do a quick recap like a podcast style. So very, very cool to generate that. And that is, again, available within your Teams licensing if you're on Pro, Copilot, etc. And then that'll generate and give you like a podcast style.
One meeting today. In the speaker recognition demo, Graham Walsh led a walkthrough of new live transcription and captioning features, spotlighting how the system identifies.
So you can see you got a nice way to listen back to the meetings in a podcast style. So if that's your preferred method of listening to meetings back, or you prefer to play back on 2 times speed, etc., 1.5 times speed, options are there for you on here. So great availability here within the platform. The only other thing, obviously, you've got to make sure your policies are set up for Teams meetings. And as I mentioned, when I configured that meeting, go back to yesterday, I was in the meeting options. And then within the options, I went to recording and I said record and transcribe automatically. That means it will record the meeting automatically. So I haven't got to go in and have my client and hit record. That'll do that automatically. So that's just one less step to do. As you saw in the video, I had to join with my user client. So it actually knew at least one person was in the room. And from an admin side of things, to achieve all this, that's where we need to make sure we allow our voice profiles to be recorded. The default was on. That was changed earlier this year by Microsoft. And you get all these options like we just saw. So you need your Teams rooms on Android, your resource account with a Pro license, and again, maximum of 10 people in the room. And obviously enroll your voice profile, or you can do it during the session as well. And the limitation for people invited with voice profile is currently 20. So again, a couple of limitations there. And obviously, again, a bit more bandwidth being used by the rooms. So at least 7 mega bandwidth on there. It can also be done with BYOD as well. So bring your laptop to the room. Again, same thing. That user must have Premium or Copilot to have these features. And any speaker microphone can be used in the room. So plug in your Neat Bar BYOD, for example, or it could be using my Neat Board in BYOD mode. And then you'll be able to do the exact same demonstration as we did that. So there is no such thing as a dedicated intelligent speaker anymore. All devices are capable of running this through. And again, for admins, these are the policies that need to be approved in your organization, that you're allowed to do the recognition and obviously record and transcribe as well. So all these must be set and applied before you do your meetings. So thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know.